Hi everyone, welcome to Tribe September 2020 Virtual Edition. I'm Christine Malakowski and I'm so glad that you're here with us. I'm going to run through a few of our announcements just like we would if we were meeting in person. So here we go. The mission for St. Andrew's Women's Ministry is to come who you are and become who you are meant to be. And our mission for Tribe is to provide a community of women that uplift, refresh, and encourage each other in all seasons of motherhood. We strive to be inclusive of mothers in all seasons, to be a space that is authentic, unfiltered, non-judgmental, Christ-centered, full of grace, and of course, confidential. Our mentor moms are still available to us. There's a chance that they could join your small group, but if not, then they are always available via phone, text, email, or Zoom. And these are more seasoned moms who are here to listen, to pray for you, or to relate to what you're going through. A few fun announcements. Jamie Stone is expecting a baby girl in February. Congratulations, Jamie and the entire Stone family. And Amy Myers is having a baby girl in January. So congratulations also to Amy and her whole family. And one other non-pregnancy announcement, Stephanie Peterson was featured on the front page of the mansion section of the Wall Street Journal for her incredible interior design work. Congratulations to Stephanie. As a reminder, if you have any news you want to share with us or any prayer requests, or you just want to get in touch with a mentor mom or someone on the leadership team for any other reason, please email us at adults@sapres.org. And now to introduce our speaker, Kirsten Casillas. She's going to be talking to us about why we need a tribe more than ever right now. Kirsten is a wife, a mom, a speaker, and a freedom fighter. Her passion is seeing women walk in freedom and power that we already have. She lovingly and boldly invites women into deeper conversation with themselves, God, and each other. She lives in Orange County and attends Mariners Church. She served in leadership at Mariners MOPS for 9 years, and through MOPS she found healing and wholeness. Her tribe of soul sisters and a passion to help women grow spiritually. Kirsten and her husband founded Blooming Faith Ministries to inspire people into a deeper relationship with Christ and to fearlessly change the world for Jesus. Kirsten's favorite place is cuddled up between her 2 daughters reading a good book. She also loves to be engaged in soul-stirring conversations with world changers like you. And now I'm going to say a prayer to transition us into the speaker. I hope you enjoyed our entertainment at the end of this video. And please remember to pray with your small groups at the end of your meeting. Lord, thank you so much for this opportunity to meet virtually, whether we are in person or via Zoom. Lord, we're so grateful that even in these strange times that we're still able to find time to connect and feel centered in you, Lord. We pray for Kirsten's message. We pray for the discussion questions and the conversation that follows Kirsten's message, Lord. And we just pray so deeply for this virus to go away so that we can all be together in person soon. In your name, amen.
Hey, Tribe Mamas, welcome back. I am so honored to kick off your new session of Tribe. I cannot wait to spend this time with you. First off, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kirsten Casillas, and I am a mom just like you. I actually have 2 daughters, Sophia and Sarah. They are on the left here, little ones, back in the day when I was part of my mom's groups. And then on the right, this is us this summer when we took a trip up to Yellowstone. And our new puppy dog, too. We got a mini golden doodle named Callie recently, and she has been an amazing addition to our family. So this picture on the left, This is when my girls were little. This is when I was still involved with my mom's group. I live in Costa Mesa. I used to live in Newport. We probably go to the same Costco and Target and Trader Joe's. So we are in the same community, in the same life stage. And I love this ability to be able to kind of think back to what my time was like in my mom's groups, and then also maybe share some wisdom and some thoughts that I have about this season that we're in right now as moms during a global pandemic, and hopefully speak some hope and encouragement into you as you are embarking on another year. Maybe this is your first year in Tribe, and if so, I want to say absolutely a huge welcome and a huge affirmation to say, girl, great decision. You made such a great decision to find a group, to take the courage to join that group, and then to show up, not even knowing, are we going to be able to meet in person? Am I going to meet online? Like, I don't even know what's happening. No one knows what's happening. It's a global pandemic. We're all figuring out as we go. And yet you showed up anyways. And so I just want to say, atta girl, I'm so glad you're here, because I trust that the times when you're able to make it and you're able to connect, that it will change your journey as a mom. I really believe that. And for those of you that are coming back, welcome back. Glad you're here. You know how important it is. You know how vital it is for us to have this mom time and this mom connection. And so I'm so glad you're here too. So let's get into this. This is actually another photo of me. I don't want you to get any ideas about the fact that I might look like what was going on in the prior picture all the time. These totally are reflections of what happens in my household also. Unfortunately, the one on the left to me represents when the child is having a meltdown and the parents kind of model that same meltdown. That does happen in my house, both with myself and with my husband, if I'm honest. And the one on the right, oh, I don't even like to look at her, but it's true. It's true. I come from a household where there was a lot of noise, a lot of yelling when I was growing up. And so as much as I try to do things differently, and I'm learning skills and tools and working through things that I need to so that I can parent from a different place, there are still times when the anger or the impatience comes out and it leaks on my kids. And so unfortunately, sometimes that's what it looks like in my house too. I say that because I think if we're going to come together as moms and we're going to connect, we can't do it if we're not going to be honest. Because the thing that we need most is to come and have a space where we can be real. Ladies, we live in Orange County, California. There are television shows about Orange County women and how they do friendship. And I'd like to start off your year and say, could we just squash all of that? Could we say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to actually come. We're going to be real about what's going on. We're going to be honest. We're going to encourage each other. We're going to speak life and truth into each other. And we are going to, even in the midst of really hard seasons, we're going to make it through. We're going to make it through together, and we're going to make it through solid. Living lives that really reflect the things that are most important to us and to our families. I think that's what we want to be about in Tribe. Here's a little bit of an overview of other things that are similar to me, of things that I like. I love to read. I'm not a big TV girl anymore. I do not do news at this point. There's a presidential election coming up, and I can't. I just can't. I can't. That steals my joy fast. So I stay away from that, and I love books. I just started drinking coffee actually after I had my second child. I was not a coffee drinker before that. And now what I like to drink is vanilla creamer with a side of coffee. That's really the combination that I prefer most. I love flowers. I love flowers even from Trader Joe's. They just make me happy. Just love them. I want to be a hope bearer. I am a big believer that God is writing epic redemption stories in our lives, and that sometimes when we are in the middle, it's very hard to see that we're in the middle of the story, that there's another chapter ahead, that there is hope ahead, that there can be meaning and beauty and purpose and even calling that can come out of our stories. And so I like to be a hope bearer, even in the times where things are really, really dark. Because in my own life, I've had those times, and I've seen where God was faithful and where he provided community to me to be able to help me walk through those times and be able to come out of them changed and changed for the better. And then now being in a place where I go and share that hope with other women through Zoom now, through speaking in person, to different engagements, to moms groups, to Bible studies, women's retreats, all different types of things. And now even monthly, I do a gathering for women online just so that I can speak life into people's hearts, because I think we need it right now. And I love to be someone who is an example of the freedom that can be found when we connect with God, when we connect with ourselves, and we connect with each other. And so that's what I'm about. So today, what we're going to talk about is why we need a tribe more than ever. I don't know if this picture speaks to you the same way it speaks to me, but that, I think, is really what motherhood looks like a lot of the time when we have littles. I used to joke around when my kids were little, when my oldest was 3 and my youngest was under 1. And I would say, at the end of the day, if we stayed married and no one went to the ER, like that was the day. That was a win. Were my only objectives for the day, because anything else just seemed like a bonus, right? And so I think now in this season of this crazy COVID time, I'm like, I think those are still kind of the essentials, right? Like those are still the things that are most important and the things that will make the biggest difference for us, if we can get through, not only just get through these days, but get through these days and see the beauty and see the wonder and see the awe in it. Because our kids are only little for like a minute and a half. My kids are going to be 11 and 8 this year. And I just feel like time has just, it blows me away how quickly it all went, right? And that saying of the days are long and the years are short. I sound like a mentor mom that's like, yeah, it's true. It's totally true. But I want us to relish and enjoy the beauty of the times that we have with our kids when they're little, because they do grow up so fast and we don't want to miss it. We just don't want to miss it. And that's why we need a tribe to remind us of those things. That to also give us space for the hard. There is hard in motherhood, and sometimes people don't talk about it, and sometimes we talk about it too much. I think there's a balance that we need to be able to find where we can be honest about what's going on, not from a place of complaining and being stuck in the hard, but having space for someone to be able to then speak life into us in the midst of that hard. When I look at this picture, some of you might be looking at that and saying, that doesn't look hard. I would love to be in a room alone by myself with no toys and no spills and no diapers and no noise and no kids clamoring for me for things that they need. I think the image and the thought behind this picture, though, really is what I know so many women, especially in the life stage of young kids, raising young kids, we are in this place of loneliness. There may be a ton of activity and people around us all the time, touching us all the time. And yet at the same time, there is this deep loneliness. And it is reflected through anxiety, and it is reflected through depression. And it comes because we are in this constant mode of tending to little people, and we don't often tend to ourselves. And so even having a space where we can come and we can learn from other women on the journey who have gone farther because they've been in the journey a little bit longer, and they can tell us, oh no, sister, you have permission to take a nap. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's hard. Yeah. You need to come over for a play date, and we need to have some coffee, and we just need to take a break together, or I'll meet you at the park, or give me a call after the kids go to sleep, and we can have a Zoom happy hour, or we can just have a conversation. But we can do something to make space when it's hard so that we can get through it together. I think tribe is definitely a space for the holy. It is the holy of motherhood, and also, tribe is held through St. Andrew's Church. There are things that are really important values for St. Andrew's Church, why they exist. And so there will be pieces of that you will experience through this journey and this time in your tribe gatherings. And I want you to know that we understand that sometimes moms come for a mom connection, even when it's at a church. They're not really that thrilled that it's in a church. I just want you to know that there is an expansive God that welcomes all. And so I hope that you will be able to find a place here where you will feel closer to God. You will see the hand of God. You will experience the love and grace of God. And that will be something that will be a holy experience for you in small ways, and maybe even in big ways as you engage through tribe. You need space for you, mamas. We, in a non-stop way, tend to our kids all the time. Even when they're asleep, we're wondering, why are they sleeping so long? We're not even resting when they're resting and when they're asleep. We are constantly in kind of alert mode, really, to make sure that they are okay and that we're doing a good job as moms and that they are well cared for, right? And so we need relief from that every now and again. We need to take a pause and say, what do I as mama need? How do I refill my tank? How do I do that? And I know for me, one of the biggest things that I've learned through this pandemic period too is I need to have my couple of girls who I can really talk to, connect with, and who will remind me that I have permission to take care of myself. I sometimes, as a doer, will default to just doing more and being productive and getting things done on my to-do list. And my friends will say, "Oh, no, sister, no, it's time just to, get the kids and go to the beach." Or it's time for you to just tell your husband, I'm just gonna go for a drive by myself with no children and just get a break, right? Take that book and just go read it somewhere and be alone and have space for thoughts and for feelings, to maybe journal or reflect or call a friend or get together, whatever it might be, but you need some space for you. And it's the best way that you can love your kids and pour into them. The other thing about Tribe is that it is a place where we are reminded that there is grace for the journey. This motherhood journey, it's long, it is bumpy, it has twisting turns, and sometimes feels like a roller coaster. And we need a friend on the journey with us that just says, "Oh, sister, oh, you were doing the little baby's nails and drew blood. Oh yeah, I've done that. She's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay." When your kids are in diapers and you feel like there will never be a day when they will not be in diapers, you'll have a mom that's a few steps ahead of you. It'll say, "Oh, you'll get through it. You'll get through the potty training. You'll get through all of it. There'll be a day when your kids can go in the water and you can sit and actually read a book and not have to worry about if their lives are in danger." Like, there are things that are hard for the journey, or things that we feel like where we are actually failing our kids. And we rarely are. Rarely are we. And so we need someone that'll tell us, grace, there's grace for the journey. We'll come alongside and say, it's okay to make mistakes. No one here is perfect, and no one is expecting you to be perfect. And that is such a relief, because sometimes in our own minds, behind closed doors, we can start to put a lot of really unrealistic expectations on ourselves as moms and as women and as friends and as wives in every area. And those unrealistic expectations do not motivate us to do a better job. They actually are very heavy burdens. And so the more that we can be reminded on a regular basis to release those burdens, to be reminded that perfect does not exist, it is an illusion, and instead just to go after what is really good and what we already have, and enjoy that and treasure that and be present for that. So grace for the journey. Before I go into the one thing I'm going to talk to you guys about today, I do want to talk about comparison. Every time I launch or talk to a mom's group, I always talk about this particular quote by Theodore Roosevelt, because I love it. You may have heard it before. Comparison is the thief of joy. Laura Casey, who's an author, says, comparison is the thief of everything. And I agree with both of them. For me, comparison not only will steal my joy, it will steal my peace, it steals my sanity at times, and it will absolutely steal your ability to connect with other women in Tribe if you don't get a handle on it. And so if comparison is something that is something that comes and stirs up in you, I want you ladies to crush comparison. We do not want to allow that to grow if you also want to have connection. The two cannot coexist. And so you're going to want to stomp it out. And when I started my mom's groups, we met in person, and I hope that you'll be able to do that at some point as well. But I would come in and my comparison would always flare on a day when I was having a bad mom day, which we all have. Now, in the early days, I thought that having a bad mom day meant that I was a bad mom. Not true. Not true. Good moms have bad mom days. But when I was having a bad mom day, I could be so hard on myself in my mind. And I would start to kind of beat myself up about a mistake that I made. Maybe I snapped at my kids, or I wasn't as patient, or I forgot something, or whatever it was, right? Like some kind of normal thing, really. It happens. None of us always get it right in our parenting. We make mistakes. And so I would have had one of those situations in the morning, and I would see a mom who seemed to be having a really good day. And because of my insecurity and my fear, or maybe it was even just because of my lack of sleep, who knows, I would start to compare. And I would start to think that she had it all together and that she never had bad mom days. And that her kids probably, always ate all their food and vegetables and never complained. And I'd start making up stories like she and her husband probably have sex like 5 times a week. And like, that's not happening in my house. I just would start crazily making up these full stories about this woman. I don't even know what her name is. And I realized I cannot have the experience I want with these women if I keep doing this. This is literally stealing my joy, and it's making me crazy. And I realized I have to make a choice. I can compare or I can connect, but I can't do both. I can compare or I can have joy, but I cannot do both. And so even if your tribe year is going to be in the midst of a Zoom workshop or whatever it might be, there is still going to be this pull to compare. You might look at a woman who happened to take a shower that day. She was able to do her hair and her makeup. And you might start to think, man, I haven't had a chance to do that in 3 days because they got a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn, right? Which would make sense if you hadn't. But maybe you're just doing all you can just to get it together and be able to get onto the group meeting. Then don't compare, because you're doing the best you can, and that's all that's required, right? That's all that's needed. Or maybe you'll start to look in the background and say, oh my gosh, look at how she decorates. Wow, that's not what my house looks like. Oh, I don't have those skills. And we can lose what's even happening in the group setting because our minds have gone off into a comparison that is really irrelevant. How somebody else does their life is really not relevant for how you do your life. If there are things that would be helpful to you, maybe something where a woman is going to give you a tip that's going to be helpful, or she's going to encourage you, or you're going to raise the bar in a way that is healthy for you, that's going to be helpful, then awesome, learn from her. But don't compare. Don't compare. Comparison will always put somebody above and somebody else below, and that is not a connection. Not a connection. So go for connection, go for connecting and collaborating with each other, but not comparing. So I just have to do that. That's my public service announcement every time. But this is the one thing I want to talk to you guys about today. I could give you a bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's be honest, there's a lot going on right now, and we're all feeling a little bit overwhelmed at times. So I wanted to keep it super, super, super simple. So the one thing I want you to remember, the one thing I'd love to invite you to take and use in your life during this pandemic, for the rest of the year, for the rest of your mothering, I think this is valuable, and it has been valuable in my own life too. And it is to connect with your eyes. You've heard the words eye contact, you know all that. This is something different. What I am talking about is for us to connect with our eyes in a way that's intentional, where we are literally pausing for even a split second, and not just a glance of like, oh yeah, baby, I'm looking at you, as I'm on my phone, or looking at our kids because we're afraid they're going to fall, or we're looking at them because, oh yes, they have another diaper that needs to be changed, or oh great, yeah, there's another snack that fell. Yeah, like I know we look at our kids a ton of times a day. But I'm talking about connecting with our eyes with our kids. You know that look when they know that you are looking at them, and that look that they give you, trying to look into your eyes, deeply into your eyes. Mommy, are you really looking at me or not? I've noticed that with my kids. And so one of the things that I've really been intentional about is making sure that I stop to really look back. That I look back into their eyes and I communicate love and acceptance and appreciation and value and worth, that I cherish them, that I care about what they have to say, that I care about who they are. And I'm telling you, it changes the temperature in our house. when my oldest was 3 and my youngest was a little bit younger, she really had a hard time adjusting to having this older sister who took a lot of attention from mommy. And she had a hard time with that. It was a struggle, like anybody would. And so I remember being intentional about giving her some eye contact before I started into my day. And it made such a big difference, because when she knew I had plugged into her, I had intentionally connected with her, she didn't have to wonder all day, does mommy see me? Am I important to mommy? Does mommy value me? Do I still have a place in this family? Do I have a place in this home? Am I okay with her? What is she thinking about me? Because that's the way kids think, right? Everything's about them. And so I want to encourage you to connect with your eyes with your kids. Do it throughout the day as many times as you can. When they're asking you for a snack, when they want you to look at what their toy was, whatever it is. And you know what? And let's just be honest. Like, let's just say if you really weren't doing that right now, and most of what you were doing was just passing and doing a lot of tasks with your kids, just upgrade from wherever you are. Add more times of connecting eyeball to eyeball with your kids in a way that shows them you value and love and see them. That's it. Just upgrade the number of times. I'm not going to give you a specific number. Everybody will have a different threshold as to where they're already doing that in their lives. So I would just encourage you to be intentional and do it a little bit more than you have in the past. I want to encourage you to connect with your eyes with your spouse. Now, I don't know if you guys are having COVID date nights and if you put a TP up in the middle of your living room. We don't do this. This is not what this looks like in any shape or any form at all in my house. But I do notice that there is a huge difference when I connect with my husband eye to eye. And there will be so many times when we are absolutely passing. We are together all the time now because he works from home and I'm at home with the kids, and we're just always around each other, but that does not mean that we are connecting. That does not mean that we are seeing each other. It does not mean that we are connecting as one. It is often defaulting into tasks, communication, organization, management. It's that type of stuff. It's not that deep connection. And there will be times when we're like passing each other and I'll be intentional and I'll stop him. I'll like pull him back and just look at him in the eyes and just kind of check in of like, how are you? Like, let me let you know that I see you, right? That you're important to me, that I esteem you, that I see the work that you're doing that's on behalf of our family, and I value it and I treasure it. And I really want to know, when I look deeper into your eyes, how are you doing? Is there something you need from me? Is there something I'm not seeing because I'm so busy with my own stuff? And really just taking that time just to look into their eyes. And it does a world of difference with them too. It is, you guys, ladies, you are like magnetic to your husbands. If you look into their eyes, it's almost like you are going to hypnotize them in some way. It's this really strange thing. If you haven't noticed it, try it. And you will see, you are captivating to them. Even with like the top bun and no makeup or whatever, like for them to see you look at them and really appreciate them, it means a lot. It just really means a lot, and it goes a long way. So I encourage you to connect your eyes with your husband. Next, I want you to connect with your eyes with yourself, ladies. The same thing with our kids and with our husbands. How often are we going about our stuff and we're never checking in with ourselves? We're never stopping to say, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? What do I need? Am I even tending to myself? Have I even looked in my eyes to see like, what's really going on with you, Kirsten? I know you've been connecting with everybody else and taking care of everything else, but like, how are you doing, girl? And we need to do that for ourselves, because we are the anchor for our families. We are the thermometer for our families. We determine the temperature in our house. And if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right? We really need to check in on that. Because if we're not caring for ourselves, there's not really going to be a whole lot of other people, maybe they're going to tend to us the way we need to be doing it for ourselves. And so that's why being part of Tribe is such a big deal, because it's a way that you can tend to yourself. And it's a way for you also to be with other women who will also look you in the eye, right? And I'll tell you, all of these things All of these things work together, because when I'm not looking my kids in the eye, when I'm not looking my spouse in the eye, when I'm not looking myself in the eye, when I'm not connected in those places, I start to feel really lonely and disconnected inside of me. And when that happens, it will inevitably mean that I will feel disconnected from you. So me tending to these things in my own life will allow me to connect more when I come to Tribe. It'll allow me to be more real and more honest and more engaged, because I will already be connected with myself. Now, let me say, you don't have to do all those things to come to Tribe. Come to Tribe however you come to Tribe. Just come to Tribe. You don't have, there's no prerequisite before you can show up. Show up even in the messiest of times, because that's when you need it the most. But I'll tell you, if I'm able to tend to all these things, not every single day, but like on a regular basis, if I'm able to check in with myself, I will show up differently in my life, and I will show up more like the mom I want to be, and the friend and the spouse and the neighbor that I want to be. And so I just encourage you, connect with your eyes. It will change the way your life goes, the way you feel, the way your house feels. It will make a huge difference. It's simple, but it's super powerful. And I want you to know that you're going to make mistakes along the way. You're not going to remember. You're not going to remember to do it. You're going to do it in a way that did not go down the way you planned, because some old learnings or some old patterns or habits, or maybe even just a bad day, or the first period after you had the baby, whatever it is, there's going to be days when we just don't get it right. Like, there's days when we feel like we don't get anything right. And this is what I want you to hear, mamas. I want you to know this, that grace for this journey means that there is grace over you and your parenting. And that even when things seem like they're all going wrong, I want you to know the truth that you are held by an expansive God. That there is a lot going on right now, but I will tell you, and you might not feel this way for yourself, but there's a lot of people in Tribe that feel this way. And so you can hang out with us and maybe even just open your mind to see if you think that it might be true for you too. Is that we believe that there is an expansive God that's holding everything together, even though it looks like everything's falling apart. And that God is the creator of us, the creator of our kids, the creators of the universe, and that even as big as COVID feels right now, God's bigger than COVID. As much as it seems like there's urgency and there's an alertness and there's things we need to know about, like this presidential election, God is bigger than the government. God is bigger than whoever will be the president, right? God will still be God when the election is over. That whatever it is, finances or health concerns or anxiety or depression or whatever it might be, that there is a God that's bigger than anything that we are walking through right now. And that he is an expansive, loving God that wants to walk with us. I do not have a God that always changes things the way I want them to be. That is not the God that I know. But I do know a God that will carry us through even when it's hard. And he will bring people into our lives that will walk along the journey with us so that we don't do it alone. And they'll hold us up when we feel like we're going to fall apart. And they'll speak truth into us when we feel like there is not another step we could take. They will speak truth and life and strength into us because we don't have to do it alone. And so as you go into this year, ladies, I want you to know that you have an expansive God that wants to show you the beauty in everything that surrounds you right now in this stage of life. That if there is hard that you're walking through, there is also so much that if you could train your eyes to see, there would be so much beauty that you would relish in and that you would delight in and find joy in. And that is something that I hope that you will walk away from too. That as you start to connect with yourself and your people, you will see this beauty that is surrounding you all the time. And that those things would encourage you on your journey as a mom. As I wrap up, I'm going to get you some discussion questions, but I want to invite you to. Every month online, I do an online gathering for women, and I walk women through an experiential workshop that helps them connect with their thinking and their feelings and God and their own story. And so I do this every month. You can go to my website at Blooming Faith Ministries or find me on Facebook. But I would just love to invite you to join me either in the end of September or any month. But I'd love to encourage you and walk with you on this journey of motherhood and of life. This month in September, the topic, there's a different topic every month, and this topic is the rest that restores. And man, I think we are all needing some deep, deep, restful rest. There are some discussion questions. So your leaders are going to guide you through this, but these are the 3 questions that I'd like for you all to consider. How is comparison stealing your joy? Who do you need to connect with your eyes most? Is it with your kids? Is it with your spouse? Or is it yourself? And I would add, what would happen if you did? What would happen if you did spend some intentional time connecting with them, with your eyes? And third, what do you want to remember most from this session of Tribe? Maybe it was something I said. Maybe it's going to be something that you're going to talk about in your group. Whatever it is, take one thing. Ladies, there will always be a lot that you get exposed to, but we can't implement everything. So make it easy for yourself and take one thing, connect with your eyes, and maybe there's something else that you want to take from this or from your discussion time. So take that. And ladies, I just want to speak life and blessing over your motherhood journey, over your family, over your kids, over your time in Tribe and the friendships that can be developed this year. I am just praying that you will be amazed that even as you are starting this first day of Tribe, that at the end of this year, at the end of this Tribe session, that you will look back and that you will see God's hand upon all of it. That you will see people that God specifically puts you in contact with, that become sweet friends, that'll be dear friends for you for many, many years to come. That you will see motherhood in a different light, that you will be encouraged in that your spiritual life and your spiritual journey would expand, and it would become something that would be very sweet and tender and personal for you, and that would have a ripple effect on your family. And I pray for your marriages too. As this is a hard season, it is also a season where we can turn towards each other and we can be stronger and we can be unified and we can be a team. And so I just pray blessings over you, ladies. And I just hope that you have the most amazing year. Thank you for letting me be a part of what's been going on to launch your year. And I'll see you around the neighborhood. Bye, ladies.